Are you struggling to play blues solos? In this lesson, I will teach you how to target notes within the pentatonic scale, and then we'll use a blues shuffle to bring it all together. So grab your guitar and let's play some blues. I will leave a link for the backing track. This is a great track to practice these bluesy concepts. Using a 1-4-5, the 1 chord is an A7, 4 chord D7, 5 chord E7. For me, I struggled to really just adhere to the chords and sound like I know what I'm doing. The pentatonic scale is good framework, but we need to target some notes. So if we look at the A minor pentatonic scale, and it's probably the first choice for most of us to solo over this. But I really want you to look at this little box within that scale. It's right in, within it. We're just adding a few notes, but it's still within the pentatonic reach here. I'm using my first finger as an anchor point for the minor pentatonic. And then that little box there is still right under your fingers. And I'm going to break down some licks that work over each chord. And shortly I'll show you how this all works over the blues shuffle groove. If you want to start sounding connected to the chord changes within a blues structure, you have to at least target a few notes. And this little major sounding box within the pentatonic will help you do that. So, in this little intro, I just targeted. So, this is a very common move. This little 1 fret slide here, going from 5 to 6 on the G string, is a C sharp note, the major third of the A7 chord. But it's important to know that, but it's also important to visualize it, to see that this move is always there for the blues. It's there right under your fingertips within the minor pentatonic scale. So I just started out a phrase like that, sliding from the 5 to 6 on the G, and then on the B string, 5, 7, 5. The next time, 5, 7, 8 on the B. And then this is the minor 7 of the A7 chord. But again, just visualize these little moves. Then we're going to go up to the A note. Getting back to home base there. It kind of, works up to that note there. One more time. Then a great bend. Always have that bluesy bend there within the minor pentatonic. Full bend on 8 of the B string. Trying to reach the A note here, or here. So make sure you got the right pitch. And then vibrato. Once you get it up to pitch, then a little vibrato goes a long way. But don't try to bend and vibrato at the same time. You want to get to that pitch is a great way to start really sounding advanced with your bending technique. And that's always a great bend there. Then walking down the minor pentatonic, adding a little taste of that blue note, 5 on the E string, 8-5 on the B string. So just a little quarter bend here within the A minor pentatonic. So on 7 of the G string, release to 7, that quarter bend, 7, 5, then 7 on the D string, back to home bass, an A note. Great bluesy resolve because you're walking back down. So far. And when you're going this slight bend here in the 5th fret of the G string, you're always hinting to that major third there. It's just a bluesy thing to do. And then when it goes to the D7 chord, you can just slide up there. Because I'm visioning this box, and the F sharp note here is a chord tone within the D7 chord. But again, just visualize that little piece of a major. It's like a piece of the A major pentatonic, but it's right within the A minor pentatonic. So we want to target that note, the F sharp note, because that's a strong chord tone of the D7 chord. So we can just slide up from 5 to 7 on the D, and then hitting that F sharp note in the 7th fret of the B string. Then walking back down as it goes back to the A chord, 5, 7 on the B string, slight bend on 5 of the G string, home bass, 7th fret of the D string. Now the E chord will be coming up. You're targeting an E note. I like to, and you can expand on this idea here, but this is a great starting point. So we have that E note in the 5th fret of the B string. Check 1, 2. And again, through most of this sound here, I'm pivoting my first finger here. It's my anchor point, I should say, of with the 5th fret here, because you have all the notes available to you if you keep your hand in this position. So you have that E right here. So if you do a full bend on 7 of the B string, you're hinting at that G sharp note, which is a chord tone in the E chord, E7 chord. Again, visualize this though. Don't always think, I got to get to a G sharp or an F sharp. If you visualize these little moves, they're just going to come naturally. You're going to start using your ear, and it's always good to know those notes, but to visualize these little shapes and common patterns within the blues is also such a great tool, because you can improvise some blues solos without thinking too much. So you're bending that full bend in 7 there on the B string, then 5, 7 on the E string, then back to home bass there for the E7 chord is home bass. Then going back, like we already did there, and then the E chord will be coming up for the turnaround, and I usually do a walk up there using just a chromatic walk up. 5, 6, 7 on the A string, which gets you back to that E7 chord. You start hearing the sound of the chord if you use just these little moves. You know, using that blue note, using some bluesy bending, and just targeting a few notes. Now let's bring it together with this groove. Check out this quick demo. I'll leave a link for this backing track because this will help you get this stuff under your fingers and start using your ear. But also you can just pick up your guitar and use these concepts. The stuff just flows. You really do need to practice these moves without a backing track so you're ready when you do put a backing track on. You have these moves for each chord. This is a starting place to really get the sound of the blues, getting the major thirds and the chord tones, but doing it in a visual way. You're looking down and seeing the A minor pentatonic, you're seeing a little piece of the A major pentatonic right within that shape. You have an anchor point here with your first finger, and you'll just create the sound using your ear. There's endless variations with your blues soloing if you use this technique. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. As always,